There is a fire inside you, not the kind that warms, but the kind that burns everything it touches when left unchecked. Anger, a force older than reason. It does not whisper, it roars. It does not wait, it strikes. And yet, the warrior waits. Musashi once wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." Anger reverses this. It makes you heavy with pride and blind to everything beyond your own flame. You become the center of your storm, and in that storm, clarity dies. So the warrior does not deny his rage. He does not run from the fire. He stands in it, still. And like a blade drawn from the forge, he is hardened by it, not destroyed. You must understand this. Anger is not weakness. Uncontrolled anger is. When the bear is wounded, it charges blindly. When the eagle is struck, it soars higher. One is ruled by pain, the other rules through it. Do not let your fury pull you into motion without aim. A sword that flails cuts nothing but air, or turns back on its wielder. But when sharpened by stillness, when held with purpose, anger becomes the edge that cuts through all falsehood. The oak does not break in the wind because it does not rage against it. It stands, anchored, watching. The same wind that topples the reckless fuels the patient. And this is what Musashi knew. In every duel, stillness before steel. No yelling, no emotion, just breath, then precision. He faced death not once or twice, but over 60 times. And not once did rage lead him to victory. Only calm, only clarity, only the silence between thoughts. When anger rises in you, pause. Let the heat rise, but do not move. Let the emotion scream, but do not flinch. Because if you move before you see, you strike where there is nothing. You bleed for no reason. Even the panther crouches before it pounces. Stillness is not passivity, it is preparation. It is knowing that timing beats volume, and presence beats noise. Wield your anger as a weapon, not a curse. Shape it like a blade in fire. Grasp it like a sword, not with panic, but with poise. Every time you act from fury, you give your enemy a gift, your clarity. And clarity is everything. A warrior without it is already dead. The mountain does not tremble when the sky screams. The snake does not hiss before it strikes. The disciplined man does not react. He acts when it's time. And when he does, he never misses. Musashi spoke of observing the rhythm, of knowing the pulse of the moment, not before, not after. This is the art of wielding the blade of emotion. This is what separates the swordsman from the brawler, the master from the slave. You do not become strong by avoiding your fire. You become strong by standing inside it and refusing to be consumed. Let others scream. Let others boil over and collapse. Let them fight shadows and ghosts. But you must remain composed. Let your fury fuel your focus, not your fall. Because in war, the one who remains still the longest often strikes first and last. So the next time anger burns in you, don't ask how to silence it. Ask how to sharpen it. Control is not found in denial, but in discipline. Let your anger rise, then cut it down to size. Not with repression, not with shame, but with aim, with breath, with mastery. Because anger is a blade. Wield it, or be cut by it. There is a silence that follows the storm. Not peace, but the echo of restraint. The warrior lives there, because to live in stillness is not to be emotionless. It is to feel everything, and still choose the sword over the scream. Too many mistake fury for strength. They shout louder, hit harder, break faster. But a tree that bends in the wind lives longer than the one that resists every gust. You must learn to bend, but not break. To feel rage, but not be ruled by it. To carry the fire, without setting your life ablaze. Musashi walked alone, not because he hated the world, but because he understood that clarity demands space, and space demands solitude. In solitude, there are no enemies to blame, only the self, and the blade of self-reflection cuts the deepest. When anger arises and there is no one to throw it at, you are left facing the mirror, not the battlefield. That is where mastery begins, not in defeating others, but in no longer needing to. The wolf does not howl at every threat. It observes, it learns, and only when it knows it cannot fail, it moves. This is the law of patience, of measured motion, of discipline carved in silence. The undisciplined man reacts, the warrior decides, and decisions born from stillness strike true, while reactions born from fire shatter like brittle glass. Remember, the sharper the blade, the calmer the hand must be. When your anger boils, lower the heat, not to kill it, but to forge it. Iron must burn before it becomes steel, but it must be hammered with rhythm, not rage. Musashi did not duel with emotion. He dueled with clarity. His sword was not moved by ego, but by instinct refined through discipline. He knew the pulse of the moment. He cut not with anger, but with understanding. You must become like that. Let your emotions rise, but train them like wild horses. Let your rage breathe, but do not let it lead. The snake does not strike from panic, it waits. And in the waiting, it wins. The eagle does not flap in frenzy, it glides. And from that stillness, it sees everything. This is the way. Wield your anger like you would your blade, sharpened, steady, never drawn without cause, and never swung without precision. Most men let their fire burn too early. They show their edge before the time is right. They bleed out in noise and call it power. But the warrior, he waits. And when the time comes, he does not explode. He ends it. No drama, no waste, no apology. Just movement born from silence. This is your training. Not to be empty, but to be exact. Not to suppress the storm, but to command it. The flame is not your enemy, but without mastery, it becomes your master. And once you are mastered, you are no longer the warrior. You are the weapon, used, broken, forgotten. But if you learn to stay, in fire, in fury, in feeling, without losing form, you will become something few ever reach, a blade with a soul. Control is not silence. Control is precision under pressure. The world will test you. It will insult you, ignore you, provoke you, not because it wants your reaction, but because it wants your power. Every time you explode, you give it away. Every time you flinch, you fracture. The disciplined man bleeds slower, and when he does bleed, he does not howl, he tightens his grip. Anger is not the enemy, but comfort is, and ego, and the soft belief that every feeling deserves a response. You are not your emotions. You are the blacksmith of them. Each one, rage, grief, pride, fear, they are raw ore. But you decide what they become. Let your rage become resolve. Let your fire melt away hesitation. Let your fury refine your edge, not for revenge, not for chaos, but for command. A man who reacts is owned by the world. A man who responds with clarity owns himself. Musashi walked the mountain paths alone, training in wind and snow, his blade not drawn by impulse, but by necessity. He knew that to win before the fight was greater than to swing in blindness. This is the strategy you must carry. Let others talk, let others tremble. You, train in the storm, grow like bamboo, rooted, flexible, unbroken. Let each emotional wave rise and crash, and still remain unmoved. Because the moment you master your reaction, you master your fate. And that is what the warrior protects most. Not his image, not his anger, but his path. You cannot walk the way with a blade swinging wildly in every direction. You must sheath it. You must breathe. You must see. Then, when the moment is right, you draw. One cut, one decision. End it. Walk on. There is nothing impressive about rage. There is power in stillness, power in restraint, power in choosing silence over spectacle. The mountain does not explain its calm. The panther does not explain its pause. And you owe the world nothing but precision. So the next time anger surges, do not push it down. Do not explode outward. Let it rise. Feel it fully. Then forge it, not with panic, but with poise. Breathe through the fire. Stand where others shake. Strike when others scream. Because when the blade of anger is sharp and the hand that holds it is steady, nothing can stop you. Not because you are ruthless, but because you are refined. You have become the weapon, but not the kind that wounds blindly. You are now the sword that cuts without hesitation, because it has already waited. This is the path of the master. This is the way of Musashi. Anger is a blade, and now you know how to wield it.